Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cryptocom Investigation, when we have a look at various cryptocurrency projects and we ask ourselves, are they going to be worth investing in today? We'll be looking at something called Netvrk. Now, a little legal disclaimer, this is not to be considered as financial advice, should only be used for entertainment, inspirational, and educational purposes. What's some other stuff to say? Oh, also, if you like what I do on this channel, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you do want to comment, I do encourage healthy and beneficial comments to both myself and those who are going to be watching as well, because we do want to create a community which is based on truth, kindness, and goodness. Yes, and let's try to make some money, I guess. Alright, so the first one is Netvrk. Let's have a look at some Ds. So it says that its current rank is 3,000. It's unsure of the market cap, says that it's 72 million. And it says that the fully diluted market cap is 174 million. As his current circulating supply is 41,000 out of 100,000. One thing why I feel like this may not completely be true is because of some of the other stats, which we will be looking at some of them on these other scanners as well. So we will be looking through some analytics today as well. So let's have a look at where the price has gone. So all the way from May, it's sort of been chilling around the 0.43 kind of mark, maybe 0.1. And then it went up a little bit here, and then it went all the way up to an all-time high, it looks like, of around about just over $7. And then now we're currently sitting at about $1.75. Yeah, so it's interesting. So here are some interesting things. So first of all, we don't have a description on this page of what it says that it is. So if the team is watching this, the Netvrk team, please consider adding a description here. It'll be helpful for other people. What's interesting is that this is listed on kucoin. Now, for those who don't know kucoin, I do have a link in the description for it as well, if you do want to sign up to it. It is a very cool exchange in my personal opinion. Uniswap and kucoin, so both of those are quite big names. Well, specifically kucoin, but Uniswap, I mean, that's pretty standard to find almost like any coin out there which is on the Ethereum ecosystem to be on there. So Certic, if you guys want to have a look at some of these stats, there's nothing really here which I can see which kind of really stands out to me as concerning from what I can see. I mean, they say one medium finding, market volatility, I mean, that's a bit standard, and then safety assessment based on safety and hazard evaluations. Okay. So that looks like it's one of the lower end ones, but yeah, in terms of here, it doesn't seem like we can see anything which is too greatly concerning. Alright, so this is what we can find on Etherscan. Now, something interesting is that we don't really have any sort of things which point out to contracts. So usually we sort of want to see these things being locked in terms of their vesting, for instance, but we don't see any of them locked. Concerning. I tried messaging on their Discord and Telegram, did not get a response, but I didn't ask about this jazz, but I asked about something else, and got no response. So anyway, so yeah, as we can see, one of the top 5 wallets is the kucoin one, and the other ones we don't really know who they are, but we can probably have a look at what we can see on BSCscan to see what it can tell us. Honeypot, so we can buy and sell, so that's fine, because it is on kucoin as well. Ownership has not been renounced, and suspicious burn function detected. Now, I'm not exactly sure what this is, because even Moonarch doesn't really give us any deeper details into that. However, we can see that 98% of the liquidity has been locked, with 331 WETH locked up. And so in terms of the top holders, we can see it here, and it doesn't seem like there's any other dev wallets other than this one which says 0%. So I guess a good / great question would be, what do these wallets represent? If, let's say, anybody has any idea, feel free to comment that, because as I say, we do want to be realistic about what I guess each thing represents. Another thing to think about, by the way, is that I will likely pin this comment to the top if somebody has something decent about this project here. Yeah, cool. Let's have a look at what tokensniffer says. So tokensniffer, no honeypot. Cool. It does say source does not so it contains a mint function which could potentially allow new tokens to be created and dumped. I'm not too concerned about that, to be honest, judging by what I've seen from the rest of this project. Not too concerned. Yeah, but it's still a potential risk. And also another good thing is that it has no prior similar token contracts. Yeah, also, sorry, one other thing to mention during this video, I know I'm saying like a bunch, is that we won't really be looking at reasons for why you should buy this coin, because there's probably going to be a whole bunch of shillers out there who'll probably be able to talk to you about that jazz. We're sort of going to be trying to focus more on the metrics and stats behind this coin, in case you guys are sort of like, please shill, please shill. So anyway, liquidity is fine, as we can see. And then and then we know about this sort of holder analysis. All right, cool. So let's continue over. We have a look at Moonarch. When we have a look on here, it says, so I think that this is a bit of a glitch, which I believe is possibly going to be fixed up. But when we actually have a look at the lockup itself, we can see that we have 98%, which is currently locked for the next 96 days when it comes to the liquidity. So that's a positive. That is a good sign in my opinion. Although we see that the rest of it has been unlocked, which means that anybody can sort of buy, sell, whales, dump, get rich quick, all that jazz. So it looks like there might be a small chunk of this which is actually burned. Sorry, it says 0%, but yeah. So this token age is only 9 months old. And these functions down here aren't really too concerning to me. So set locker, I think that's just like, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I don't think that's too concerning. And I mean, there is a chance. Now, when we have had a look at other token projects, which contain this ERC20._mint function, usually on tokensniffer, they don't appear as this line right here. The source does not contain a mint function. However, this one does contain this sort of warning regarding the mint function. So either tokensniffer has gone in and been updated and has decided to include this as a part of the concerning mint functions, or this one could have something which maybe Moonarch did not pick up in terms of the actual token contract. So those are just sort of some things to take into account. Owner, creator, cool, so that's fine, and liquidity slash marketcap, cool, max play, and we know all those details. Cool, so that is all good. Don't be put off by this right here, although it says 49% liquidity, apparently that's just a UI problem, so yeah, they're probably going to fix that at some point soon. Yeah, but let's move on. So we will be having a look at some Reddit stats today. So this is the Netvrk system, and this is the Reddit themselves. So the reason why I haven't done the Reddit stats for some of the other videos is because they've only had like less than 100 like members, and some like, oh, nah, we'll sort of pass on that. But these guys have over 1,000, so you know we'll have a look at what the general community, I guess, interaction has been. So we can see that they've gone from 0 followers before March 5th, or on March 5th. All the way up to the 31st of January. We've got 1,400 comments per day. So it's definitely been a bit more of an uproar, especially during the sort of 3rd of December. We'll see if that actually aligns up with our. We'll see if that aligns up with this. So 3rd of December, yes, as we can see, that would have been just sort of, so they would have had their all-time high, dipped, and then a little bit, and there's people will be like, is this, you know, a fake bull? And then it reached up to 7 again, and then as we can see, it's sort of gone and dipped there, along with the rest of the cryptocurrency, I guess, market. Yeah, so that's not too surprising, because I mean everything has kind of been doing that. Well, not everything, but most of these things. As we can see, they had a pretty biggish day on April 26th. And then, so we haven't had too many posts in here, so I would say that their community is probably going to be more based around Telegram and Discord, so that should be fine. Then we have a look at some of the Twitter stats here. So as we can see, over the last 30 days, we have had almost 6,500 new followers. This user was created on February 24th, and it looks like they have 92,000 followers, which is quite a decent number. Now, I did have a look through some of their various posts, not these retweeted posts, because they have got a bunch of retweets, but the actual posts by Netvrk themselves. That is how to pronounce the name, by the way, in case you are interested. It's not Netvrk, it is Netvrk. Yeah, so when I have had a look through some of these comments, they don't really seem to sort of spammy or botty. But I mean, yeah, the comments are pretty similar, like, oh my gosh, good project, great, cool, awesome, can't wait, let's go, or, you know, the sort of general shilling stuff. But it's pretty good, to be honest. I haven't seen anything too concerning in terms of the actual profile, so I don't think these guys would be bot followers. From what I've seen, and also Alex Beck is one of the people who I don't think he's behind it, but he's like, he likes it. Anyway, let's have a look at some Google Trends. So as we can see, over this sort of past year, they had a pretty big spike between October 31st to the 6th of November. Let's have a look and see what we can find in regards to the last 90 days. So in the last 90 days, December 2nd was pretty big. Yeah, and they were down a bit there. Let's have a look over the last 30 days to see how they're doing. Okay, so the 26th of January was a little bit bigger than the others, and there has been a little bit more search, and I feel like part of that could be due to the fact, whoa, I do not know what's been causing that. I thought that this was going to be a different reason. I take back whatever I was about to say. So this is the YouTube channel. They've got 11,000 subscribers. So they used to be called Xmod, which we will go into kind of soon. So Jay Schindel, he is the Chief Creative Officer. I believe he might have a different title now. I could be wrong, but it's pretty cool how these guys do sort of try to keep up to date. One complaint which I do have though, and this is kind of annoying, to be honest, and usually when I sort of hear this or think of this or see this, so can you see how there's like not like a little HD button down here? So yeah, we can only go up to like 720p, which I mean, I think that this almost kind of looks like it's in 30 FPS. But it does, like, I do recommend if you are considering investing into this project, like, when I had a look at this video, I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible, like, these guys are doing something really cool. One sort of, I guess, comment which I will make is because it is a VR game, that does limit the audience, but it also does mean that that there is a lot more wider possibility in terms of what can be done, or how people can sort of interact. So to me, this is a bit of like a combination between Ready Player One and what was the other game? Ready Player One, VR Chat, and oh gosh, there was like another game. Oh, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but a few people have commented about the 720p thing. I mean, this isn't the first project which we've seen a 720p thing for, so to me it just seems like bad marketing, to be honest. I mean, at least kind of make it a little bit better, but I mean, this could be due to maybe limitations to do with frame rates and stuff, but I mean, we can justify it however we want to. So yeah, so we can see a little bit of that jazz. So let's go through a little bit of the things on their website. So we can see news, February 11th. This actually could be one of the causes of the news for why it sort of went up a bit recently in terms of the Google Trends. So it went from 000 all the way up to 53. A part of that, I believe, would have been because of Travala, which I have heard is pretty big / good. So they talk about what you can do in the ecosystem. So essentially, so I think it's kind of like Minecraft as well, because it's sort of like you kind of like make land. Well, make land, yeah. Oh, sorry, that's the other game. It's the space flying one, where they automatically generate worlds. I can't think of it now. No Man's Sky. There we go. So No Man's Sky is so it's a little bit like that as well in terms of its actual, in terms of its kind of thing. So one reason why I think it is like that is because they actually so you can essentially have computer, I guess, generated lands, if you want to think of it in that sort of essence. So it just sort of happens naturally, I guess. So they can make, you know, river, forests and all that sort of jazz. Yes, so let's continue looking. So exchange, they talk a little bit about the staking, which is involved as well, with some OK APY. And then so land, transports, blah, blah. Partners, now these guys have a lot of partners. You guys may recognize some names on here. I don't really recognize many of these names. Certic, I recognize, but are they actually a partner, or did they just audit them? Trustpad, do know Trustpad. Polygon, yes, almost everybody here is probably gonna know Polygon. 8x and Charlie 3, so those are two Cardano things. D-Race, GameStarter, Dex Tools. I mean, there is a bunch of familiar names on here. So whether or not they actually do have proper partnerships is a bit of an unsure question, and we don't have an exact for certain answer regarding that. Because I mean, well, first of all, when I say we, I mean I haven't seen anything about it. But if any of you guys have any information, you are very welcome to go and maybe share the articles which actually show show some of these partnerships if you so wish. And we can also see Metastrike, which I also did another video with recently. So they also mention these blockchains as well. I am a little bit confused about these blockchains though, because when we actually have a look on coinmarketcap, they actually only have this one contract with Ethereum currently listed. So I'm not exactly sure what they mean by blockchains. If anybody has an idea, as I say, feel free to explain that sort of thing. So these are some of the investors. Usually these will be sort of ventures, so GD10 Ventures, Capital, and a few other ones. Dutch crypto investors. I think I saw there was like an interview with one of the other guys from one of the other projects, which I saw regarding that. Metaverses, not sure. So I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to do by showing metaverses and blockchains. That's a little bit confusing. So what's awesome is that their team, from what I can see, is very well doxed. Yes, so we've got pictures for all these guys, and I believe that every single link here links to a LinkedIn, so not just a Twitter or an Instagram, but we actually have their LinkedIn, which to me is incredibly professional in terms of the project itself. So as you know, we can also join the Telegram and Discord if you do want to get the latest updates from these guys as well. So when we have a look at some of the extra tokenomics, so actually this is probably a bit too small for you guys to see. So we'll actually have a look at the tokenomics on this page instead. So they sort of talk about the team, operations, marketing, advisors, and as we can see, that probably reaches about just a little bit over 20%, which is it's pretty okay, to be honest. And so that could be potentially what is taking up these major wallets here. But one reason why I don't think that would be the case is because according to BSCcheck, we can't actually. This is the only one turning up as a proper dev wallet. So that sort of makes me think that maybe these guys may not have as much sort of, I don't want to say power or sway, but depending on if tokensniffer is right in terms of its mint function, that could mean a little bit of badness for us if we are to invest into this jazz. Whoa, that's interesting. How do they, what? Oh, it's 100 million. Why did I say 100,000? Sorry, guys. Right at the beginning of the video, I said that they only have a max supply of 100,000. That's 100 million. Jeez Louise. Sorry, team. That's my own foolishness. So exchange liquidity, we know a little bit of that. Cool. So from what I understand is that the only real lock which they properly have is this lock regarding I think is it TrustSwap or Team? Yeah, sorry, TrustSwap. Team.finance. Yeah, so this is the only real sort of lock which we can see. So the rest of the supply is currently unlocked. Yeah, which I mean, once again, could be a potential cause for concern. It's interesting how tokensniffer is not picking up the liquidity though. So that's a little bit fascinating, I guess. All right, what else can we see? So there are some other things on here. Roadmaps, so 2016, 2017. So those aren't really as important, but let's actually have a look at this jazz. Partnership with HTC. What? Did that actually happen? After a quick lookup, so I can't see anything about where they say that they've actually partnered with HTC. Yeah. So that's interesting. Didn't see that coming. Fascinating. So yeah, early access release. So apparently there have been a bunch of beta testers that have played this, but I don't know if they actually have a properly functioning application as of yet, because I can't see anything which sort of leads me to believe that we actually do currently have a properly functioning game. Although, sorry, that's Linktree. I thought it was GitHub for a moment. Yeah, so then we have a look at some other things. So it says we only have this little part in regards to the roadmap for this coming year. Which, I mean, that's not a bullish sign, folks. Yeah. So we'll sort of briefly skim through a bunch of the teams. So where we see Xmod, just sort of think of Netvrk. So Chief Visionary Officer, CEO, Co-founder, Lead Engineer. So he's got some experience. That's cool. Dan Kennedy, Chief Executive Officer. This is where it gets a bit confusing. So he's the CEO, but where's the other guy? There was another guy here. Who's also the CEO as well. So they have like 2 CEOs or something. I can't see it right now, but yeah, it sort of got me a little bit confused. But anyway, so this fellow is the CEO, Dan Kennedy, and his other experience was that he was a founder of Blockchain's PR. Let's continue to move forward. So co-founder, art director, self-employed, and so he's managing partner / co-founder. So I'm gonna probably leave you guys to sort of pause on these pages, because yeah, so this fellow's been a strategic advisor, but also he doesn't actually list the Netvrk or Xmod, although we actually see that his profile has been updated, because he has written some other various things since 2021. Since April 2021 would have probably been one of the most recent from what we can currently see, in terms of where he started at. But there is a possibility that it could be a little bit further down the list, and no, I can't see anything further down the list. So not sure why he's on their website if he doesn't actually work for them. But yeah, so that's a little bit concerning in my opinion. So yes, moving on. But I guess because never mind. So, founder / creative director, Xmod. So he is it says that he was only with them for 4 months. Okay, this is getting a bit too fishy for me, folks. Yeah, either, I don't know, man. Gosh, because this guy here. So who is he? So Sam Wei, Chief Technical Director, and yeah, so it says he was only there for about 4 months. This is interesting, a bit concerning. The fact that we have one guy who hasn't been listed on here, saying that he's still with the team, so he hasn't updated his LinkedIn to show that, and then another fellow who only says that he was with them for like a few months in 2019. That to me is pretty sus, to be honest. Yeah. So this fellow here, Jay, he is the Chief Creative Officer, and he's had a few other experiences, as we can see. He would have had more experiences as well, of course. Then we have a look at Alan, at least I think that's how you pronounce it. So we don't actually have anything in regards to Alon, however you pronounce it, and he is the where is he? Sorry, he's down here, the technical art director. Yeah, so we don't really have any details on him neither. This fellow worked for Tesla, holy bananas. Architecture and construction, architecture engineer, director of talent acquisition. So it looks like this guy has almost probably taken like a full 180, where he's sort of been doing a bit of architecture stuff, and then suddenly now he's focused on being the director of talent acquisition. And the last person who we'll be looking at is Michael, and he is currently the project director for Netvrk. So yeah, so it's a little bit patchy, a little bit hazy here and there, in terms of that jazz. So yeah, so I think now is the time where we ask ourselves, should we invest into this project? So in terms of the roadmap, we don't, from what I've seen, we can't really see a current really great roadmap interviews. So we have there is another interview which I saw as well with one of the guys. I think it was with was it Michael? No, Daniel. Yes, I believe it was Daniel. Yeah, so we do have them doxed enough that we can sort of feel a bit safe-ish if anything necessarily bad is going to happen. But yeah, I think that judging by the looks of it, there's sort of like it's a little bit patchy in some areas. First of all, the gameplay. So one thing whenever considering a metaverse project is to think about and consider the gameplay. We can genuinely see the gameplay. Now the game isn't properly released yet. Could be for our benefit or detriment. Because it could be for our benefit if the game ends up releasing people like, oh my gosh, this is the next best thing since sliced bread. But if, let's say, this is... I don't think this is a rug pull, to be honest. If it is, gosh, I don't know. I'd probably just be a little bit surprised, to be honest. Because, yeah, I'm not... As I say, I still don't quite know what these major wallets are used for. They could possibly come under something to do with maybe this trust swap lock, but the lock is apparently only really to do with liquidity, and the liquidity which is available is only $918,000, whereas these extra big wallets here are worth in the values of the 20 millions. So yeah, so the fact that these are unlocked and don't look to actually be controlled slash they are not tied to a contract is a bit concerning for me. But yeah, and as far as we know, we don't really know anything else about that sort of jazz. So yeah. So if you guys want to invest in this, would now be a decent time. Now is probably actually a pretty okay time to buy into it if you are interested in investing in this project, because it looks like it is mega low in terms of where the actual price is at. And I mean, it's been at one of its lowest points over like the last 3 months. This would have been pretty much everything from like there below. Yeah, everything from below that line. Yeah, so they did have a sort of few days here where it did drop a little bit lower. But anyway, I think that if you do want to invest in this, do it because you like the game. Do it because you believe in the game. And because you've seen that the team is doxed, you have seen that they have got a potential bunch of partners, which, yeah, so it does feel like they are a bit behind it in terms of things which they could be updating. Either maybe the marketing team or the social team or the creative team, whatever you want to call them, hasn't really been keeping that much track, or hasn't really been a huge amount of being on top of the game. The Telegram community is active. The Discord community, I wasn't really there for that long, so I can't exactly tell you that. But they are both, so it seems like they are pretty active in terms of the group themselves, but this could be one of those buy the news, sell the story situation. Because of how much the game is like No Man's Sky, it could give us a potential risk in that sort of essence. But one thing I did not have a look at, which you guys can have a look at yourselves as well, is the actual game designers as well, because I didn't actually really I didn't really have a proper look at who the game designers are. And some of these guys could have some amazing details. Gas-powered games, dude. I know who those guys are. Yeah, he used to work for GameStop. Interesting. Yeah. So long story short, if you guys want to invest. If you don't want to invest, don't invest. But I hope that this video was enjoyable anyway. Where the heck is my Patreon link? Here we go. Welcome. So if you guys do want to support what I do on this channel, please consider joining my Patreon. Also like and subscribe this video, and if you do want to comment, yeah, please be healthy, please be kind, generous. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Have a good day. See ya.